Hey, all right. This is an insight I had from a call I was just having with he's a friend. We work together on different projects and things, and I think a lot of people will get benefit from this. So, in our life, right, as we go forward, and we're pushing ourselves, and a lot of times we are genuinely trying to break through, but then we get stuck. What the hell do you do when that happens? I made a post earlier today, I think it was today, on Facebook, and I said, it's called a glass ceiling because you can't see it. So you know that phrase, right? You got a glass ceiling. And you're trying to break through, but you keep hitting it. And then you don't know what to do. You're kind of pissed, all that. Here's how you can start to see what that is. So, don't let yourself make this all mystical and magical. Look at this practically. There's a phrase. You go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you see further. Now, let's also tie that in with then something, let's call it the law of intention. So having real intention. Okay, let's do the intention piece first, and then I'll tie it into the earlier phrase, because this is like a video that I'll end up re-listening to. Because every time you go to another level, you then have a new glass ceiling. And then you go to the next level, a new glass ceiling. You got to always keep recreating yourself. You're still the same you, but it's more of you coming through. And then there's obviously, for each level too, there's a different level of vocabulary, understanding, comprehension that's required. Like Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it. So this is how you go through that process. So law of intention, what is that? Well, I'll give you an example. I had one of my guys on my team today, and he had been pushing himself a ton lately, but no matter what happened, he was hitting that wall, right? Hitting that glass ceiling. And then yesterday I had a chat with him, and I was like, hey man, all right, what if, the thing you got to do? He's like, kind of. So I was like, okay, look, this is what you got to do, man. You got to take all these people that you need to call, go call them and push it all the way to the point where you push it to the very best you can. And then it's in their hands. He's like, okay. So I was like, dude, what if you did it today? He's like, shit. So I'm like, okay, go do it. So, whatever. Hung up the phone. And then he went and he made his calls, did the thing. He pushed the point. Nothing actually happened. So, chatting with him earlier today, whatever. Didn't even ask him about it. I figured he'll tell me in due time. But he had a few more calls today. He did those, so he finished it. He finished the task. Then something totally unrelated happened that got him the result. So he's looking at, just specifically, he's looking at working to make a sale for this project he's working on. And he ends up, right? Again, he pushed each point to the max that he could. And then nothing happened except out of seemingly nowhere, someone else hit him up. Why is that? Because law of intention. So our world, our reality is much more interconnected than we were ever taught in school, right? You are made out of the same thing I'm made out of. Atoms, substance, right? Some people are like, oh, quantum field. Okay, whatever. We're the same substance. So when you're moving yourself in alignment with reality, and you're pushing yourself all the way, guess what picks up on that? Reality. And when you're not pushing yourself all the way, guess what picks up on that? Reality. It's equal and one. Equality and oneness. It's literally on the inside of my wedding ring. It's right. It's a principle. It's how reality is set up. Equality and oneness. Now, we are all, I'm sure, have had experience of inequality. We've had experiences of separation. But oneness and equality, that is a baseline of how our reality is set up. So how does that relate to the law of intention? Is when you, within your self-honesty, you actually apply yourself all the way. You push yourself in the ways that you need to. And how do you know what this is? Or you might have to grab a pen and paper and actually write down this evening, right? Or tomorrow or whatever. But you write it out. What you need to do. Next obvious actions. And if you wait till tomorrow, but you could do it tonight, guess what? That shows you your intention. You don't actually really care. So, within yourself, you do the best you can. then you act on it. Guess what happens? Your next level will open up. As long as you're aware. Okay? So you apply that intention, you live that intention, you act in accordance with that intention. That's what a real intention is, after all. You do that, guess what? The next level will open up. You just got to be aware of it. You got to have the level of processing to be able to see it sometimes. Okay? Because life will present lessons. So that's law of intention. Now, how does that relate to the earlier phrase I said? Is you go as far as you can see. Okay? Such as you figure out the shit that's on your to-do list, the thing that you got to do. And then you go do it and you go as far as you can see. Guess what? When you get there, you see further. It's one of these amazing things about this reality that we find ourselves in. I'm looking at the ground because there's these like sharp roots of these trees. The amazing thing about this reality that we find ourselves in is that it's always expanding. It's always expanding. And so as much as you think everything is just like still and like not changing, it's like things are always moving. Now you can either tap into that and expand with it and as it, or not. But how do you do it? Well, you go do the thing you know you got to do. When you get there, you see further. And that can guide you in ways that you're going to need. Now, if your life purpose and your life goal is just to feel happy and energy, feel energy and just, razz yourself up all day. One, I know you're not even watching this video, but in general, for anyone listening, it's like there's kind of two types of people. There's people who just care about themselves and just want to feel good all the time, and they prioritize feelings. And then there's people who say, I'm going to prioritize doing what's best. Now, when you do what's best, you also feel really good, but you're not doing it because it feels good. You're doing it because it's best. And when you do the thing that just feels good, guess what happens? The feeling doesn't last. So I'm saying this because as I go through life, I see more and more how as you do this process, right? You go as far as you could see. When you get there, you see further. You do it again, again. You get really strong. It's not just a strength like a muscular strength. It's a strength of will. It's a level of willpower that you become it's like a sheer force of will. Like you bend reality in a sense. Again, I don't mean in some mystical, magical way. I mean, in the sense that you actually trust yourself to show up, do the thing you know you got to do, act in accordance with the best outcome for you and for everyone around you, and then you do it. And then other people pick up on that, both on a intellectual level because they see you doing it, but also on a resonant level because reality is interconnected through something called resonance. That's a separate video. You got to come and self-perfect it to learn about that, or we got to chat one-on-one. But everyone has a resonance to them. It's called structural resonance. It's like how, you ever heard how like buildings or bridges, they have to factor in the wind and the speeds and all that. Because if you build a bridge and then wind starts howling at a certain speed under it, it has a sound to it, and that sound can then start to resonate and make the bridge start to shake, and it can literally collapse the bridge just because of the sound. Isn't that amazing? And so you as well have a sound to you and a resonance. And when you are acting in accordance and you prove to yourself over time that you actually live the change, you actually are who you say you are, your resonance becomes very strong and other people actually feel that. Have you ever been around someone and it feels good or feels empowering, or if you can just feel their presence? Or have you ever been around someone and you're like, I don't know what it is, but I don't like that person? Some of that's resonance, some of it's your messed up mind programming too, right? Because it could actually be a cool person, but you just react to them because your own programming's all messed up. However, there's a very real phenomena where it's like, if you've ever been around like really like mega wealthy people, for example, you see it. You see it in how they act. Well, you hear it too in the words they use. Like vocabulary is the secret handshake of the elite. Okay? It doesn't mean big words. It just means how you put the words together, the syntax and the order. So I'm saying all this because as you go through your process. I want you to level up. That's why I make these videos. I want you to level up. I want you to go as far as you can see, and then when you get there, you see further. I want you to figure out what is your real intention and then live that and align your intention with the intention that is, let's figure out how to make reality best for everyone. This is what we work on all the time. We have hundreds and hundreds of people working on this every day. And what's really cool is, my friend Dennis is telling me about this, the actual physical components of this. It's like we're all one big circuit grid, and you can do things with that resonance where there's a collective resonance, and we can actually really affect change on a huge level, and you don't actually need that much input to change the system. So again, that's not even future videos. I'm not even putting that on YouTube. But if you want to chat about that kind of stuff, DM me or find my calendar link. It's somewhere, wherever you see this video, or join Self Perfected. Because every Friday we have a chat like this. We go in depth on this kind of thing. Because imagine you get to the end of your life and you're like, wow, I like pushed myself probably like 10 times ever in my life. And 5 of those times was in sports. 2 of those times was when I was drunk and I challenged my friends to do a push-up contest. 3 of those times was actually things that somewhat mattered. It's like, imagine that's your life and you get to the end of your life and you're like, wow, I could have done way more. Way more. Or you build, Mayor, my other friend, he posted this. He said, many people get to the end of their life and then they realize that they climbed the wrong mountain. Right? So they like spend all this effort and time getting to the top of the mountain. And then they realize they climbed the wrong mountain. Messed up. So I'm going to encourage you, take an audit. And if at any level you're like, man, I want to make sure I'm on the right mountain, hit me up. Let's chat about mountains, because there's a really freaking important mountain that we're all kind of depending on. And that's like, where's the future of humanity headed? Big, statement, but I mean, it. You see it. You see the fact that people don't trust the news. You see the fact that people don't trust the politicians. You see the fact that kids are dumber than they've ever been. So, if you want to work on that, align your intention with that. Reality will open up in ways you cannot imagine yet. And I have a whole network of 2,500 people I can introduce you to. So there's a lot of perks to that too. It's not just like, I'm going to do it because it feels good. It's like, I'm going to do it because it's practical. And we actually have businesses that are future-proof. So when AI and automation takes all the jobs, guess what? We've made certain rules, certain things in place so that whatever happens in the economy, we have our own economy. All right? Then you can be future world leaders. So some food for thought, but don't just think about it. Act on it. All right? See ya.